Hi, my name is Oloma Umeano. I'm introducing myself fully because in subsequent editions, I will not be introducing myself because I'll expect that you would have practiced long enough how to pronounce my name. So again, it's Oloma Umeano and it's a pleasure to be here today. But before I start, I want to say a proverb. It's an Igbo proverb from the southeastern part of Nigeria. And it says, Okwa ro ogeya oda. Okwa ro ogeya oda. What that means in direct translation is that when a breadfruit comes to its ripened state, its mature state, it therefore falls to the ground so that it can be harvested. Now, what does that really mean? Because I'm sure you know that proverbs are not necessarily just about the immediate meanings that they have. What it really means is that when something has come to fruition, when its time has come, it will present itself. That is exactly what today is. Today is me presenting myself because it is time. I have a coach and yes, even coaches have coaches. Even a boo get a boo. Yes. So I have a coach who insisted that my voice needed to be heard and that it's important that everything that I have to give, is brought into play, and that a podcast would be the best place to start, reaching out to people with the voices that are in my head and the thoughts that I have. And this is exactly why I'm doing this. And I hope, it's going to be something that everybody is interested in. I am not a motivational speaker. I don't even know how to be a motivational speaker because I have serial reasons to think that failure always, precedes my success. So I tend not to necessarily see myself as somebody who knows it all, because that's like, most motivational speakers tend to know it all. I don't know much, but I learn very fast. I am what I like to refer to as an avid listener. I love to hear things. I love to hear stories. I love to hear about people. I love to hear about, developments. I'm not a gossip, but I love to hear tangible things that make sense, things that shape the world, things that move the world. I would always be quick, to get in line to listen. So I'm an avid listener. I'm also a quick learner. Just, tell it to me once. As long as I'm interested in it, I'll probably learn it. And then the third and maybe most important part of me is that I am a crazy lover of God. That's who I am. And it's easy really because in terms of listening and learning, the Bible seems to do most of it for me. It's so complete. It's such a complete work, that, the deeper you get into it, the more you get out of it. So that's really who I am. And so you'll find that everything that I say, everything that I think, therefore comes from the point of view of the interests that I have, of the things that I've heard, things that I know, what the scripture says, and so on. And today, I want to look at all my, 18 odd topics that my coach got me to come up with and, start off with one. I won't even tell you what the other ones are. We'll just keep unfolding as we carry on. But the first one I want to talk about today is life. Aha, like duh. Yes, it's a good place to start. Life. I hate labels. I hate when people have to put, a label on something. There are many things in today's world that have been given labels. And every time a label is given, it gives the impression that, it has therefore just started, or it has just been discovered, or it has just been, identified. And that's why I don't like it, because it's a lie. Most times these things already exist, so when you put a label to it, it doesn't mean that it just started at that time. It just means that you put a name to it. I mean, it's reminiscent of the explorers of old who came to Africa, and they would come to the river where my great-grandfathers and my great-grandmothers would, fetch water and so on, and tell us that they discovered the river. It is, you didn't discover the river. The river was always there, Mungo Park. Anyways, so life. What is life? Life is one of those what is life? Life is the fact that you live and breathe and move and have your being, I guess. and so many other things that it is. But it's not really the definition of life that I'm interested in. It's really more like, what is life today? You know, what is good life today, and what is, you know, the life that is best sought after today, and what is good, what is bad, what is exemplary, what is successful, what life is the best life, basically. You know, I wish this was a vox pop, you know, so that I could really get different people to give me answers, and maybe that's what I'll do in the next episode. So for me, I think life is, first of all, something that is divine, given unto us by a power that is greater than us. And so it's not really ours to claim or ours to do whatever we like with it. Life is who God is. That's what He brings. God the Father created us, and then He breathed life onto us. So it's not ours. I say that so that, you know, there's a caveat emptor. You know, don't think that your life is yours to, you know, enhance, to take. Yeah, I went there. I was just thinking about life and looking at it in terms of our responsibilities and the responsibility that we have to others. You know, when I say our responsibility, I mean to ourselves, and then what we have as a responsibility to another person. So it's really more like feeling, the act of feeling is a very intricate part of life. And that's where I want to really talk about, because feeling has become what it has become. I say that because in my earlier life, you know, in my teenage years, in my earlier life, there were so many things that we couldn't feel, that you were not allowed to feel, that you that were taboo to feel, you know, that you weren't even supposed to talk about feeling that way and things like that. In other words, there were boundaries, there were, you know, indications of what was right and what was wrong to feel, you know. And the reason that was done was because it was clearly a need, where if that wasn't done, then everybody would begin to do what they like. And doing what you like is exactly where the world is at now. And it just makes me wonder, how do I feel? What should I feel? How should I express feeling? Why is it important to even think about it? Is it okay to just do as you feel? In other words, when you feel like doing anything, you therefore do it just because you can? Or should those boundaries of old still be a guide to us? Again, that brings me back to the Bible, because I think the Bible is the only thing, the only document that attempts to address feeling, to address how to be, to address, you know, what it means not to do right, and what the repercussions of not feeling or showing feeling the right way, what the repercussions are and should be. So what am I saying? You know, I was thinking the other day that we are no longer a people who are about, you know, feeling deeply about anything. You know, the world has made light of everything. You know, every single thing is a source of a new joke, a new meme, a new buzzword. And so nothing is deep anymore. Nobody feels anything long enough anymore. I'll give you an example. WhatsApp. I'm sure you're all on WhatsApp. And I'm not dissing WhatsApp. I love it. I'm on so many groups. Therein lies my story. Because you're in so many groups, you are so many things at the same time. Do you agree with me? You could be in one group where you are laughing hilariously, about a joke that was told or about something that happened, and you guys are all happy and all that. And in the very next instant, or at the same time, most times at the same time, you are also part of another group where somebody is talking about how painful or painfully their father died or something. And then in another place, there is the whole banter that is going on. There's a bit of competition. So you're trying to play your A game. All these three things are happening at the same time. So what are you feeling? You're not feeling any one thing deeply enough to be in it. I think there's a problem with that. Because what that means is that because we are no longer consciously immersing ourselves in the emotion of the moment, we tend not to therefore have enough emotions about anything. There is that whole thing about emotional intelligence, which I think is beautiful. Just like I said, I don't like labels, but it's important for you to be conscious of what you are and what you are to others. Important for you to be conscious of the need to cry with those that are crying and laugh with those that are laughing, but at different time zones, time clutches, different time definitions, not at the same time. Otherwise, I don't know what's different between you and any other, I don't know, crazy person. Because if you can't locate in laughter for enough time until the laughter moment dissipates before you go into the crying, then you're being so many things. Frankly, I think that is one of the reasons why the world is losing love. We're losing our capacity to love. And I don't mean love in its stupid, physical, whatever terms. I mean love as in caring, co-caring, caring for people, caring for life, caring for individuals, caring for persons, knowing people and knowing them deeply, rather than just being that person who is all over the place, I think life is how well you are able to locate yourself in existence in such a way that you are felt and you feel. How do you feel about that?